से आपको एक चीज आनी चाहिए दिमाग में, and that is virtual table. Now, by virtual, not real table, because views are not actually a table that are stored in your database. Okay, these are your database objects. These are your virtual tables, and views basically represent a particular query. For example, if I'm writing a query, if I'm writing select customer ID and count star from customers. Suppose this is a query. This is a very simple query that I've written. And this is a query that you have to use multiple times. Okay, suppose you are generating some reports and you have to keep on printing this thing multiple times after a few days. Okay, so what is a thing that you can do? You can write this query again and again. You can print it out, no problem in that. But suppose the query is now a little bit longer. You have subqueries inside it. You are creating CTEs, you are creating some joins, and the query is becoming longer and longer and longer. So instead of running this, instead of writing this query again and again, what we can do is we can create a view. So for creating a view, first let me tell you the syntax. The syntax is similar to what we did in CTE. We'll use the word create, then we'll use view, and then we'll tell the name of the view. For example, I'm naming it my view, and then the word as. Okay, create view and then the name of your view, and then as, and then the query that you have written. So what does a view represent? So a view represents the data that is created by a particular query. Okay, so for example, my SQL workbench isn't working for some particular reason. Let me just share this with you. Yeah, so this is SQLite. Okay, but we can still do things here. Okay, no problem here. And you can see I have these things here, albums. I have a table for album, artist, customer, and so on. And at the same time, I have few indexes and so on. Okay, so people who already know about SQLite, it's just like MySQL. Suppose I am just writing something from here. Select star from albums. Writing this, and I'll just run this thing. So if I run this out, let me see the table first. Album hai naam uska. So if I run this out for you, okay, so this is the table album that I have, right? So if from this table I just want album ID, and okay, so here in SQLite, if you just want to get familiar with the interface, you can go in the database structure and see what are the tables that you have. And if you just click on this, you will also get the columns that we have. Okay, so suppose let us do a join on albums and artists, and on the basis of artist ID, because that is a common column. Okay, so let me write one join wala query. Select from album as A1, inner join artist as A2 on A1 dot artist ID is equals to A2 dot artist ID. So I have done a simple join. I'm not explaining the join right now because that won't be the topic. I have explained about joins already. So in A1 we had, let me see what we had. We had album ID title. So let me write A1 dot title and A2 dot, I think, artist's name. So artist ka name. Okay. So if I just write this query, this is a simple query, but I am not solving a particular question. If I run this out now, one second. Artist ID and A1, one second, let me see. Okay, artist ID का format इधर ऐसे है, and इधर भी okay. So artist ID. Okay, so this is what we get. This is a simple query that I have written. Now, instead of, suppose you are serving to a what you call it, a second party, like second party or third party. So you need to generate this report again and again and show it to them. So instead of writing this particular query again and again, what we can do here is we can just create a view. So I'll just write create view and I'll name it as artist album as, and this is the view that I have created, right? So if you see, we can see here that we have created a view, query executed successfully, and the view is created. Now, why do I call it a virtual table? Because when I go in my database structure, I'll see in views artist album. It shows that a view has been created. If I click on this artist album, you can see what it has. It has the column of title and it has the column of name. Okay. Now, Muskan, why? I still don't understand why we need view. So first point I have made clear. Instead of writing the same query again and again, if you need a particular output, right? If you need a particular output from something, you can use views. Okay. So views will help you in that. So if I go here and execute SQL and I just do select star from artist underscore album. So if you see this and one second, select star from artist. One second. Let me run this again for you. So I first run this view. Table artist. Okay, table artist album already exists दिखा रहा है यहाँ पे, ठीक है? So if I, this is one SQL का command, that one SQL का what do you call it? File that I have already done. So if I save this, right? If I save this and in another what do you call it? Another window, if I run the same command, okay, I can even just remove this here, and if I just run this again, now it will just give me everything that is present in my artist album. Okay. So in a way, you can say that this is giving you the output that was there in your view. Okay. Now, if I just want a particular thing from here, select title from artist album, it will give you that also. Okay. You can get a particular thing from that also. So this artist album that you have right now, ये आपकी एक virtual table बन गई है. Instead of doing the join again to get a particular output, you can just use this virtual table. अभी आप जो आपने syntax लिखा है, the syntax that you are using, it is a similar syntax that we use for a table, right? हम यही करते हैं table में से कि ऐसे title दे दो table में से या album दे दो. If you want to order by something, you just write order by, and this is how you work, right? So this is kind of a virtual table. And why I'm always emphasizing on virtual? Because this thing is not stored in your database. This is not storing any data. It is just a view. View मतलब अभी जो मैंने query लिखी थी आपके लिए, ये वाली जो view की query थी, what is the execution that is happening? Whenever I am calling the view, जैसे मैंने लिखा select asterisk from artist underscore album. What is happening is ये यहाँ पे जाता है, okay, देखता है, okay, this is a view. तो फिर उस view की query को वो बार बार run करता है. If I want the output 100 times, so this query that is under the view, that is under this corresponding view, will run 100 times and give you the corresponding output. Okay, so आपकी performance को you cannot say कि it will increase the performance, because जितनी बार भी you will be calling the view, उतनी बार the query that is under it will be executed. So that thing will not help in your performance, but it will make your work easier. Why? Because you don't have to write this whole query again and again. So this is the first reason that is why we use view. You understand the first reason? बार बार query ना लिखने के लिए we use the view. Do you understand the reason? Everyone, I need 10 people to answer. Okay. Now, the second reason is very simple. So it's, I think you joined a little late. You need to watch the recording for that. Second reason is very simple and very genuine reason. Agar, suppose what you are doing is you are catering to a third party vendor, okay? And this is the data that you have, and you just want to give the title and the name of a particular thing to the third party vendor. You don't want other things like the things that are in your album table and your artist table to be visible to that third party vendor. So अगर आप ये query उसको दे दोगे कि okay, whenever you need title and name, just run this query again. So this will create problem for you, because in this way what will happen is the person who has this query, they can go in the tables that you have, they can see the data that you have. For example, we are working with some high class actors and there are phone numbers of those actors, mail IDs of those actors in a particular table. So the third party vendor will have information regarding those things, and this is something we don't want. Okay, so our client wants to execute the query, that is a third party vendor wants to execute the query again and again. You can share the SQL query, you can share the thing that I have highlighted in blue, but you don't want any confidential information that is in your table to be leaked, right? You don't want something that is in your table to be leaked. So you don't want them कि अच्छा ये albums में जो भी columns हैं they can access it, और या फिर artist में जो भी column है they can access it. So what you can do here is you can create a view and grant the access to just make changes. I won't say make changes, but to access that particular view. Okay. So आप क्या कर सकते हो? आपने एक view बनाया. This is your artist album view. So what you can do here is you can just create a new user and password and everything, and you can only grant access to that view to that person. Okay. And access grant जब आप करोगे, this is something when you will work as an analyst, or if there are people who are already working as analysts, they will know about it. So in SQL, what we do is we do grant access. Okay. So we do grant access in MySQL. Okay. Grant access may you can even define ki one person, what are the queries that a person can actually have the access to. For example, if I just write grant select on albums, sorry, select on artist underscore album. And I can say that my user is Muskan, to Muskan. This is the syntax that you use to grant access to a particular person on this thing. So if you go by this particular statement, if you don't understand it, it's just fine. It is kind of like extra topic that I want to cover. So what you can do here is आप एक user को आप access कैसे देते हो? This is how you can grant access to a particular person, and you can in this query you can see that you have only granted the select wala access. That means the person can only select the columns from this particular view. This means agar wo person that you have wants to update or modify the data that is in your artist underscore album view, they cannot, because they just have the access to perform the select wala operations on that particular view. Okay. Coming back to views again. Views are your virtual tables. They do not store data. It will only store the query structure that you have. This is the query structure. And view will not increase the performance, because every time we call a particular view or we want some columns from that view, the query that is under that view will be executed. Okay. How is view helpful? We generally, what happens is in SQL, MySQL, you generally create, for example, if you want to create a new user, अभी आपका जैसे मेरा like generally होगा user होगा root और उनका password होगा root also. So if you want to create a new user, you can just say create user Muskan, उसको password grant कर सकते हो, पासवर्ड आपने ग्रांट कर दिया ABCDEFG. Okay, so this person with this particular name and password can access a particular database. And then in the 9th line, I've written grant select on artist album to Muskan. That means that that person can only do the selection of a particular view on that data. Okay, so for the security purpose, you will use view. Number one, आपका reason रहेगा security. Number two reason will be to avoid writing the same piece of code again and again. So you are simplifying your daily work. Okay, so your database credentials are whatever database credentials you have. For example, I am working at Microsoft and I have a third party vendor जिसको ये पर्टिकुलर क्वेरी रन करनी है अपने पर्टिकुलर स्टोर के लिए या अपने पर्टिकुलर व्हाट डू यू कॉल एरिया या पर्टिकुलर इंडस्ट्री के लिए. So that my work is to write a query and to give it to him. If I just give him the particular query and I give him everything, my credentials and everything, he will be able to run the query. But there will be a very big risk of leaking the information that I don't want. Okay, so I don't want the database credentials that I have to be shared with the external people outside my organization. So we can create user access only for those specific things that we will like them to have access to. Okay, right now I'm just giving access to select particular things on a particular view. Okay, we can grant access to specific databases as well. अगर आप चाहते हो कि आपके पास 10 database हैं and you just want to give access to a particular database, you can do that as well. Okay. Now, what is happening here is when I'm granting access like this to that particular person, that is me, I'm granting access like this to Muskan. So I am hiding the actual query. This person will only know that there's this artist album karke cheez, and I only can access that thing. That person may not even know ki, okay, that's a view that I'm accessing. That person will not have the access to this thing. Okay, so he won't know ki what is the query that you have used to create this particular view. So you can only grant a select access, and that person will consider this as a table, and whatever columns you want to access from it, he can easily access from it. Okay, so you are particularly hiding the query that you have used to generate the view. अगर आप query ही hide कर दोगे that you have used to generate the view, what this will do is this will prevent the person to have access to the tables that you have in those queries. Okay, in simple words, I told you, I'll just write it again. जब भी आपसे कोई व्यू की बात करेगा, you have to think V से view, V से virtual tables. Okay, then you have to think of this view. What is a view? View is restricted and it is read only. That means you can only read the data from the view. जिसको भी आप access grant करो, for example me, it is read only for me. Okay, if someone tries to run update in this view, whatever I have done, if someone wants to change few things in this view, it won't work for them because it is read only for them. Okay, this view that you have created, it can be saved and it can be executed repeatedly to get a particular output. आपके table में contents change होते रहेंगे, columns जो हैं, they will be having more and more rows. You can save this view and you can run this query again and again and again. Okay, are we clear with views, how we create views? Give me a yes if you understand how we create views. Guys, answer. Let me see if you can do this thing on W3 schools. I'll share the screen with you. So this is the query that you have. I'll just keep it very simple. Okay, so this is the query that I have. Let me add few more things here. Product message, supplier ID, unit of price add कर देता है. Unit, comma, price. Okay. Yeah, okay, now it's okay. Now, if you want to create a view, what you will do is, you will just say create view, and I'll give it a name as broad view as this. So only some, okay, यहाँ पे views allowed नहीं है, but this is the syntax that you can use to create a view. If you want, if you need some time, you have some database, do you want to create a view right now in SQL Workbench? Give me a yes or no. Should I wait for you? Do you want to create a view right now? Okay. So everyone, open your SQL Workbench and like try creating a view with whatever query you want. You can write 10 lines to be query or 2 lines to be query. Just this is the syntax that you need to follow for creating the view. Okay. Give me a yes if you are able to create a view yourself. We create views. Okay, good. So this is how you create views. Okay. Now I'm in SQLite, so I have an upper hand by SQLite is a good way right now. Why? Because if I go here in views, so if I go here and I just right click on it, so I have the options of browsing the table, that is what are the things that are in my table, modify view and delete view. So what happens in SQLite is modify view is basically you are first dropping the view that you have created. Okay, जो भी आपने view जिस नाम से you have created the view, you will first drop this view that will be like artist underscore album. This will be dropped, and then another view will be created with the same name, artist underscore album. How? Let me just click on this. So you can see it is showing me a small pop-up box. This action will open a new SQL tab with the following statements for you to edit and run. So now you can see it will first drop the view artist album, and then it will create the view again. Okay. If I just click OK here, this will drop my view. Okay. And again, a new view will be created with the same name. Whatever I want to change here. Okay. For example, now I do want to have order by A2.name. I just want to order by the name of the artist. So this is a change that I created in my view. So for in SQLite, what happens is it will first drop this view, then it will create this view again, and whatever changes you want to make, you have to make it here. So if I run this now, so you can see query executed successfully. Matlab, thing has worked. If I go in my database structure, in my artist album, I go, right? If I just do browse table, now you can see it is ordered by the name of the artist, right? It is ordered by the name of the artist. So my previous view has been deleted. Same view, a view with the same name has been created. And in that particular view, whatever modifications that I need to do, I have done those modifications here. Easy. So this is how you are actually going to modify views in SQLite. So now this, I told you whatever like whatever thing you want to work with, you can. But this thing, if you want to modify the view in MySQL, it's bit different. Okay. To modify the view in MySQL, you have to use the alter view statement. Okay, alter view और create view का बिल्कुल same ही नाम है. If somebody has Workbench open, can you please share your screen? I'll give you permission. You can raise your hand if you're fine with sharing your screen. Okay, so you have created a view. Syntax is similar. If you can just, instead of create, if you can just write alter view instead of create. नहीं ऊपर जाके just you have created the view, right? You बन गया already. So here you can open a new tab also and you can write the same syntax यहाँ पे. Alter view. Okay, and country code change कर दो. Country code शायद USA something कर दो. So it's now you can see he'll run this thing for you. The name is same only, but the country code he has given as Japan, right? So you can see the country code has changed to JPN for everything. Okay, take a minute, try this as well. If you want to modify the things in your view, you can use this. Take a minute and try.